Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games, back with another cool signal generator repair video for you today. They keep getting stranger and stranger. This video is not going to have anything to do with arcade games or pinball machines. So if you are only interested in videos that we make about arcade games and pinball machines, now is the time to bail. But lately, in my free time, I've been working on some old tube radios, just for fun, right? So I've been picking up old stuff like this. Now this is an old Coronado, it says, radio. Pretty beat up, but fun to play with, right? So it doesn't have much value or anything. But here's the thing. So I've been rebuilding a couple of these and, check the tubes, replace some of the wiring, replace the capacitors, things like that. And I've done a couple, and you get them working where they're back up and running, and they're playing. They're usually AM radio stations, AM receivers, and they're playing, but the reception's not that good. So you might get a couple channels, and some of the stronger channels you'll get super clear, no hum or anything in it. Everything's cool. But you don't get a bunch of, you're missing a bunch of channels. You only get a couple, you're only able to tune in a couple channels. This one I haven't done anything to yet. Just got this one in. Okay, so the reason that it's like that, though, I have discovered, is because it's not aligned. So these old radios need to be aligned ever so often, I guess. And they've probably never been aligned, except whenever they're at the factory. So the way that things work, in layman's terms, I don't even really know how they work, but the way it works is they're tuned to a certain frequency. Usually I think it's the IF frequency. Usually it is 455. But I have no way to measure that. So what you need is a signal generator that you can basically introduce a signal either through the antenna or whatever into the radio, and then there are some adjustments inside the radio that you use to align it. Now, if you're a radio guy or a radio girl and you know all about this and you're going, oh, this guy's an idiot, I'm just starting out, like I'm telling you. I'm just figuring this out as I go along. So if you're looking for a how-to video on the way to properly align them, I am not the channel to watch. But if you want to have some fun messing around with some vintage equipment and kind of looking inside of it, stay tuned. All right. So I've got a couple old radios here I'll show you, and then I'm going to show you the signal generator, and we're going to take the signal generator apart and then see if we can fix it, and then try to test it to measure if it's accurate at all. What do you think about that? Okay. So we'll take a quick look at this. I've been buying stuff like this. This is just a cheap little, this is probably worth maybe $30. This is not valuable or anything. If I get it fixed and it's working perfect, it'll still only be worth like $30. So I'm not doing this to make money or to sell them. It's just kind of fun to me. I like the old stuff, and I like bringing something back that works to work that's ancient. Now I've got plenty of arcade games and pinball machines, jukeboxes and stuff that I can do that with, but these are cool too. So Coronado. It's your AM dial. One thing I've noticed is that some of them go this way, and then sometimes they go that way. From 550 up to 1690. What's the end? 1710, something like that. It has some little preset buttons, I guess that's what those are, that are broke. So I don't want to mess with them too much because there's obviously a spring or something broke back there. We should be able to fix that. Looks like there might be something missing. There may have been a label there at one point that's now gone. The grill cloth is pretty faded. And then it has some cracks. So it's got a crack there, and a crack there, and a crack there. But it's not the end of the world. It's all still in one piece. This doesn't look good at all. Might have some serious problems there. And again, we're not going to fix this in this video. I'm just showing you why I need the signal generator. Coronado. External antenna. Looks like I've got the wrong screws in it, maybe. What in the world? It says to service tubes, take off back cover and remove snap pins. What are those? That don't look right. The built-in loop antenna in this aerial in this radio will provide satisfactory reception from nearby broadcasting stations. For best reception, turn radio until the signal is clearest and loudest. An outside antenna is generally required if broadcasting stations are at a distance from the radio. A ground connection is not required. All right. So stuff like this I've just been working on. All right. Let me show you one more that I've got that I'm going to be rebuilding too. All right, so I also picked this little beauty up. Look at this thing. You want to know why I bought this particular one? It's missing a knob. That's not a big deal. The reason I bought it was because of this wear around here. All right, so I thought this is how my head thinks. Right? I saw this and I thought, well, look, they've worn the paint off of that. Huh? I'll bet you could take that piece of metal off and repaint it whatever color you wanted, and then put it back, and it looked great. So then once I thought about that, I thought, oh, I got to have it now. Okay, so this is an Emerson. Same deal. It's not worth anything. Emerson Radio and Phonograph Corporation, Nevada, USA. No, New York, USA. That makes sense. I was wondering, why would they abbreviate Nevada? New York, USA. So this one also goes from right to left. The lens is a little loose. Needs a little work there. Well, that's fine because it's all yellowed anyway. We might replace it. Maybe. Emerson. And then look at all the dirt on it. But, with the exception of the missing knob, it's not bad. Now on the back, you can see there was probably some kind of hinge there or something, and maybe the old back door. I'll have to look at pictures of it. There's some clips up here that grabbed something. Okay, and here's the antenna. Old school racetrack loop antenna. Who knows if that's still connected? This one's not in the greatest shape. It looks all right, but we got various wires here that mostly probably need to be replaced. And here's a piece of something. So anyway, you get my point, right? So I'm just messing with these old radios. Fun to play around with. Okay, so let's check out the signal generator. Okay, so this is the signal generator that I bought. We're going to try to get going. Now, this is probably not the nice one. So many people misinterpret what I am doing with these videos. I'm not trying to tell you this is a nice one. I'm just trying to tell you it's a cool one. Come on now. Heathkit RF signal generator, model SG8. Now, will this work for what I'm doing? I think it will. We're going to find out. The Heath company. Now, if you don't know, Heathkit made a lot of stuff that you could build yourself. Hence the kit name. They were in Benton Harbor, Michigan, it looks like. Let's look at our controls. So we have a external or internal modulation. I don't completely understand that, but I believe it can accept an external signal. I believe. AF in and out, if you say so. There's a channel selector, A, B, C, D, and E. That must be to select the band on here. A, B, C, D, and E. So if I'm trying to set it to 455, you know, we're going to put this down like so, about right there. Right? And then we're going to check it with a scope and see if we're anywhere near 455 whenever we get it doing its thing. That's probably a little higher. That'd be 460, wouldn't it? Excuse me. But say you were going to do 4.5 mega kilo, whatever, you would set it over there, and you would use track C. So you'd use that to set it. Okay. The RF output. Okay. So that's our level. So from what I understand, you want that to be low. You want it to be really low, so that whenever you tune it in on the radio, you can just barely hear it. It makes it better, because that way it doesn't make your auto volume correct. What do they call it? AVC? Is that it? AVC? It won't kick in your... it's just easier to tune it if you've got that low. And then RF steps. Looks like we got a low, a medium, and a high, maybe. Or a something and a high. Okay, so my thinking is I need to set this to external. No, internal, because it's creating it. And then we need to put this on track A. We need to turn this up where I can barely hear it on the radio whenever I'm messing with the radio. And maybe have this low too. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go along. And now, for our wiring here, we have a power cord, and then it looks like there's a probe, which is good because I'll need that to connect it to the radio or to... Now, I watched an old man do it. I kind of liked how he did it. He just was able to lay the output on the antenna of the radio. I think that'd be cool. And he's got a little capacitor, whoever had this. I keep saying he. Ladies, I'm not trying to insult you. It could damn well have been a woman that owned this. As a matter of fact, for the rest of the video, we're just going to act like a woman owned this. Just out of respect for all the ladies, right? So this woman that owned this, she was a great radio repair woman. And I think, yeah, you had to have like a little cap on the output. They tell you that in the manuals. I cannot read the value of that, though. But she put it on there for a reason. I'm sticking with it. Okay, so everybody gave me so much hell on the other videos because I plugged the thing in. I'm not going to plug it in, even though everybody else did. Because I can't test anything with it right now anyway. So, but we're going to go ahead and take it apart and look inside of it and see what kind of nonsense we get into inside of it. This ought to be fun. So the back cover slides off easy enough. And here is the chassis. Now I have heard that when you have multiple of these, slugs here, that's a good thing. But I don't know. These coils. I know nothing about it, but I've heard that that's good because some of them just amplify it and they multiply it instead of having a separate winding for each of the channels. I believe that's how that works. Okay, so how's she look? It looks pretty freaking clean to me. This woman really took care of her equipment. So there's the tuning capacitor. I guess that's what that is. Is it bent there? Is that plate bent? By the way, we're definitely not plugged in, folks. That one, I guess, is slightly bent, but I'm not so sure that that matters, or that it's not supposed to be. Okay, now here on the front, we have a couple resistors. Couple capacitors, but they're ceramic. What is that one that I'm seeing? What are we seeing down in there? Yeah, that's also that's also ceramic. And there's another resistor. Okay, so I'm going to get these schematics for this sucker, and then we'll test some of this stuff. We'll test the tubes. So I've got two tubes. Got two transformers there. And then here's underneath it all. If I can get where you can see it. Boy, it's nice, clean, vintage stuff here, folks. Okay, so on a previous video, we were messing around with something or the other, and I tested one of these bad boys, and it tested fine with the capacitance meter. And everybody told me, oh, no, you can't use a capacitance meter to test capacitance. So there's no way to test this without a special meter that you build yourself. That's my understanding. I'm not going to do that. I I will concede that that's the best way to do it. But I very rarely do things the best way. I'm going to do things my way. Don't do this at home, folks. Don't do it. Okay, what in the world is that? I've never seen one like that. That's a beautiful capacitor, really. It's like it's plastic. I guess that one's also plastic. Man, those are really good-looking caps. Is there such a thing as a good-looking cap? So then we've got some more ceramics here. Usually those don't need changed. Got a couple resistors that may or may not be in spec. And then what in the world are we looking at here? There's two of them. Boy, it looks like a bug got in here and made something. It's the gold bug. Okay, those look good to me. Glad I tested those. And then more resistors, more resistors, more resistors, and another big cap over here. Now this one would be the damn very first one I'd change if I was going to change one. And we are going to change one. But why does she have 3 leads? Oh, okay, it's got 2. It's like a metal can capacitor, but it's in just a paper. I'm sure there's metal in there, but it's like a paper wrapped capacitor. Sometimes that label will spin. Nope. Okay, the value is 20 microfarad. I mean, 20 microfarad, 150 volt capacitors. So I don't have those, but I got 22 160. Close enough for government work. Alright, now look at these things. What in the world do we have here? Look at this. See that one? Look, it's bent all to hell, but it looks like it's been like that. And then this one is also bent a little bit. Like it's not square or anything. It's just, look at that. But obviously they're bent like that on purpose. And then this one is really bent weird. Folks, this is not an explanation video. This is a what in the world video. How are we ever going to learn if we don't tear things apart and start screwing around with it? Basically, this frequency generator, I'm trying to get it to go, and then you turn the knob and it goes, or something like that. That's all we're trying to do, okay? And I don't think it'll do it unless you hook it up to, unless you have it hooked to a radio. So, you know, this is you're not going to use this for anything. The only thing I can use it for is to try to make my aligning of radios work a little easier. Now, if this is not the best one ever made, that's fine with me, folks. This is the first one I've bought. Once I get to where I'm like amazing at this, and it'll happen. Eventually, I'll be amazing at this. Then I'll buy a better one, okay? That's how you do this, folks. Too many people, they never start anything because they're afraid to screw up. You know, they don't want to get the wrong one. Oh, no, that one's not good. It won't do this or that. It's going to work just fine. Don't worry about it, people. I got it all under control. Okay, so I'm going to get the schematics. Oh, wait a minute. Ooh, I found some of the dreaded, that green crap everybody's always talking about. Look at it. You see it? So I've heard that this is the bane of the existence of radio guys and girls, I mean. Radio girls and guys. I've heard this is the bane of their existence. This green crap just comes up out of nowhere. They even have a word for it, but I think it's nonsense. But it does appear that green crap pops up on this stuff all the time. But I think they made the word up, so I'm not going to use the word. I don't know it anyway. Okay, so I'm going to go find the schematics, and first thing I'm going to do is test the resistors, I believe. And just see if there's any of those that are way out of spec that I need to replace. So let me go find that, and I'll print it out. Okay, folks, so here is the schematics. Now, you might say, where in the world did you get that? Well, before I bought it, I checked to see if the schematics... Come on, folks. Come on, people. Come on now. You're going to make me... People, you're going to have to make me... People, if you keep doing this, you're going to make me start completing sentences. It seems like radio stuff, I'm not an expert, but it seems like most of that stuff is available. I mean, it looks like you can get almost the schematics to about anything, best I can tell. Everything I've checked for, I found. Okay, so there's a whole manual, and this was a kit, so the lady may have actually put this together herself. Okay. So I'm just starting over here, right? So here's the input and the output. That's for the AF in-out control. Now that's the one with the knob missing. And it's a 1 meg potentiometer. So I measured it, and wouldn't you know it is 1 meg, but the thing was stuck. It wouldn't move, so I sprayed some contact cleaner down in there. Right? And I'll tell you, look at this. Boy, it moves great now. Now, I don't believe that I'll need this part for what I'm trying to do. But I could be wrong. But if you look at the potentiometer in there, you can actually see it? You can see it. Look. Look at that green stuff. Ugh. So one of these wires is connecting to the input and one's connecting to the output. Okay, so we'll clean that up a little bit. That's our first stage. So I'm just going to work through and check everything out. So then, you know, we've got a small capacitor here, the modulation switch. Remember, that's the one that says internal or external. Okay, here's a resistor. A couple more capacitors. It's connected to ground. The AF choke. Couple resistors, another capacitor, and here's our first tube, a 6C4. I have no clue what that is, but you can look it up. Another resistor, another cap, and here's our two that are in the can themselves. 20, we're going to replace with 22s. Another resistor, just a little pilot lamp to tell you that the thing's on. Here's where the power comes in. Here's the switch, which is on the RF step switch, I guess, or one of the switches. It's good old selenium rectifier. Am I really going to upset you if I leave that in there? For now, people, I'm leaving it, okay? I'm going to leave it in there for now. I can replace it later. Don't worry about it. Anytime it says selenium or germanium, I leave it, because I like Germans. Okay, a couple more resistors. I guess that's a capacitor. That's a microfarad. It's a mini microfarad. And then our second tube, which has two sides actually, 12AU7. I'm just showing this so that all you people that know what you're doing can say, oh yeah, I've seen it 1,000 times. Look what they did over here. Look what they did. RF steps switch. Oh yeah, so here's our steps that I was looking at. This is the, I called it the channel, right? The RF output. This is probably what we're going to use, this connection, right? So band 5 or 1 or whatever. I better answer that. They might be calling telling me how to fix it. Okay, so the RF step switch. It looks like it just throws different resistors into it. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Oh yeah, I'm wrong. That's the band switch. RF steps switch. That's the band. RF output. RF step. Okay, there's the RF step switch. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's the wiper, I guess. So as it turns, the output is connected either to, I don't have anything to point with. So this wiper here, even if this is all the way over here, so it's like half of the connection. If this is turned all the way over here, it will still connect to the output. So what you're doing is you're sending the output from here through either, if I connect it over to here, if I turn the knob, then you're just straight sending it out. Now this is the, I guess the volume, not the volume, volume, the RF output switch. So this is on, and then I can turn it up. It's a variable resistor, and click it off. So the click it off part is there, and then there's the variable resistor. So we get our juice, whatever's coming out that, the RF output. I have no clue what I'm doing, people, but I'm figuring it out, okay? So the output comes down, and if you have it in that one position, it just goes wham, straight out the output with no resistance at all. But let's say we turn it to here. Well, now that is connected there, and the thing is still connected to the output. But before the juice gets to you, it goes through a 680 ohm resistor. Boom. Okay. So let's say that we turn it to the other one. Now, before the juice gets to you, it goes through a 680 ohm resistor, a 47 ohm resistor, another 47 ohm resistor, and through. It would go through the 680, but as we all know, electricity follows the path of least resistance. So I don't know why that's like that, but I'm sure there's a great reason. Okay, so that's what that does. All right, now here's our band switch. Now I looked in the manual. I had a customer come in. While they were here, it said that A, B, C, and D each have their own coils. Now that's what we were looking at a second ago. There's your A, B, your C, and your D. And the E are these bars that I was talking about. That's pretty cool. So if you connect it to E, it basically, it just has that metal, the bar is the E, right? So instead of going through a coil, it's going through that bar. Why they did that, I have no clue, but I'm sure it's a brilliant idea. See, it says it, band E. Okay. All right, so that's all of our stuff. So I'm going to go through, see if I find anything that's not up to spec, and then we'll swap it. I was just reading in the manual. It said that the resistors, unless otherwise marked, are within 20%. And it said that the capacitors are within 50 to 100%. That's what it says in the manual, folks. This is old. It's from the 50s. It says between 50 and 100%. So if it's even close, it ought to work, right? But I'm going to swap them anyway. Okay, folks, so while you weren't looking, I walked through every little part and checked everything I could as I went, okay? And the ceramic capacitors I didn't worry about. Some of them could be wrong, but, you know, at the end of the day, this is just a little small signal generator. It doesn't run a bunch of amps through it. You know, everything looked real nice to me. So we're not going to worry about the ceramics. But we had those two Mylar capacitors here, or I guess they're Mylar. Ceramic. These are kind of ceramic too, right? Whatever they are. But I was able to replace that. All I had was a 1,000 volt, so it's a little overkill, but it's, you know, the correct one. So I got that bad boy in there. And then I had the 0.02. Boy, this is a beautiful cap. Look at this thing. What a work of art. It looks like Crayola made it. I like it a lot. Look at that. Beautiful. Sangamo. Boy, Sangamo made some good looking stuff. I don't know if it was any good, but so I replaced it with a 0.022. 0.022. And then there was a resistor here that was just barely out of, so I'm considering 20% spec. It was like 22%. So I swapped it. Okay, and then this beautiful cap here. That's a cool one. I've never really seen one quite like this, but y'all probably see them all the time if you're experts on this stuff. I've seen the metal ones all the time, but these I haven't seen. So it just had 220 microfarad capacitors in it that share a ground. That's pretty cool little setup there. Okay, so we have basically done the same thing. I started looking, and I actually had some perfect ones for it. Look, 20 UF, 20 UF, 450 volt, which is, don't really need that, but hey, I had it, right? And then I orientated them so that you can read it. And then everything else seemed cool. By the way, I was just kidding about the selenium rectifier. I got rid of the selenium rectifier, people. Don't have a cow, man. Okay, so how did I do that? Well, I left it in there just because it's so beautiful. And somebody may want to go back to it. You don't know. At the moment, we think that they're all dying, but we don't. Somebody may want it in the future. So anyway, the way it worked, a line came up, ran to it, and then out the other end, a line ran over to this resistor. Okay, so that's here on the schematic. Line comes from the transformer, runs into the backside of it, and the line comes from there to the one of the filter cap. I guess I'm calling it a filter cap, but I'm not sure, and a resistor, right? So I simply replaced it with a 1N4007 diode. Wait for it. Wait for it. Now I know what you're all thinking. You're thinking, "Oh, you can't do that, Ron. Oh, no. You gotta have a resistor to lower the voltage." Okay, so how big of a resistor do I need? Here, I'll show you. Okay, so it comes in here. Now my wall's 120. It comes in here, and then you're telling me I need a resistor right there because the selenium rectifier has a greater voltage drop than a diode. Okay, and so I need to get it to what voltage? What voltage is it that I need to get? So you're saying what voltage am I? Exactly. It's not many amps, people. It's this little tiny transformer. It's not a bunch of amps. So even if you put that resistor in there with a little bit of current, it's probably not even going to lower the voltage much. So I'm not doing it. Yeah, I said it. I'm not doing it. I don't know what I'm supposed to put it. You know, we could just try to guess, but then I'd have no clue if it's right or not. So I'm just going to replace it with the diode, and we'll move along. But I'll tell you what I'll do. Just to satiate you, I'll check the voltage. So I'm going to go ahead and plug her in, and then we'll test it. Now, I do not have a variac. Deal with it, people. The people I bought it from plugged the damn thing into the wall, okay? It has recently been plugged into the wall. You're just going to have to get over that you don't like people plugging in vintage equipment. It's now or never, folks. If it burns it up, I'll fix it, all right? Oh, wait a minute, I can't. I got to test the tubes. Scratch all that I just said. We got to test the tubes first. Okay, so it's got two tubes, a 6C4 and a 12AU7. We got to make sure they're all right. I'm also going to spray contact cleaner in the tube sockets just to make sure they're making good contact. I took out the number 47 bulb, checked it, it's fine. That's the same as in pinball machines, by the way, so no big problem. I have some if I need them. Okay, so let's do the tubes first before I plug it in. All right, folks, I did a video about this thing a while back. It's a little kind of, it's not low end, but it's not high end either. Middle of the road, Mercury 301 combination tester, because it has a volt ohm meter. It has a CRT tester, but it also has a tube checker. Right, so I've got it all set up, and this is our 6C4 tube. That's pretty solid in the good category, isn't it? Looks pretty good to me. All right, so that one's good. Let's try the other one. All right, so we've got it coming back up. It's the 12AU7. We're looking to see if there's a grid leakage. There is not. Everything looks good. So we're going to test it. Similar to the other one. Everything looks cool. Now this one has two sides. It's a two-sided tube, a double triode. I had someone leave me a message telling me, "I know you don't like it whenever anybody tries to help you, but you didn't test both sides of that one." Yeah, I did. 458 F7A. I love when people try to help me. I just don't like whenever people are jerks about it. I need all the help I can get, people. Believe me. 4, 5, 12, AU 7, 4, 5, 8. Do you think I just thought all this stuff up myself? No, people help me all the time. I'm reading my manual over it. F7A. Nothing wrong with helping people. Okay, so this is the second side. 2/3 of our tubes work so far. We'll see if this one does. I'll tell you what I think about this frequency generator. I think it would have worked right out of the box. But I'm trying to service it a little bit, and then we're going to try to test the frequency and see if it's even close. To see if it's reliable to use as test equipment. Okay. There we go. All three of them about the same. Cool. All right, the two tubes appear to be fine. So now we're ready to plug it in. Okay, so I've got it plugged up. We're going to try turning it on. If anything explodes, call an ambulance. This looks like a blast shield. This will protect me, right? Boy, the light's pretty. Now, I don't think we'll be able to tell without a radio on if this is doing anything. Luckily, I have something just for that. I almost hear something, but I don't know that you would. Okay, let's see if I can rig this up without getting electroshocked. Let's see here. How can I do this with one hand? Maybe if I set you folks like so. Wham! Look at that. Boy, what a beautiful shot. See our selenium rectifier that's just there for show now? And then let's do something like that. What do you think about that? Boy, isn't that beautiful? Look how you can see DC voltage. And I have both hands free. Now, you might not be able to see what I'm going to touch, but I'm going to touch the frame. Wonder if that's hot. Probably not. I just touched it. Nothing happened. Okay, so I'm going to check across the filter cap. One side's connected to ground. The other side... 137.6. So looking at the schematics, that's what's coming out of this where the selenium rectifier was. But then it goes through a resistor, this big resistor, and then hits this other filter cap, and it's at 83.9. So is that correct? Heck if I know. I could probably check and see if that's acceptable on the tube. I don't know, folks. I think I'm going to just go for it. All right, so I think we're good. Now, the one thing about this set that isn't really great is there's no fuse. So that would be something that would help it. So it might be a good idea to put a fuse in it. Okay, so let's see how we can test this thing where we can see if it's accurate at all or if it's even sending out any kind of frequency or what. Let's see a good way to accomplish that. Okay, so here at the shop I've got this absolutely sweet Panasonic radio. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. Let's see if it works. I believe it does. Am I going to get demonetized? Is that the Red Hot Chili Peppers? So it's good sounding little radio.
So much fun. Do not miss the D.L. Hughley Show on Charlotte Station for the best throwbacks and today's R&B. And me, D.L. Hughley, 105.3 R&B.
105.3. So I would say, yeah, that's it. Right there. That looks about dead on the FM at least, right? Or I don't know, is the line supposed to be? Is that REM? This one goes out to all the girls I've loved before.
Jason Aldean, you're listening to Backstage Country. The only way I know, this was a song that I think David Lee Murphy was one of the writers on this song.
Okay, so that's 103.7. I know the country
Murphy.
channel.
He's one of the coolest guys in town and a great writer.
That's probably 102.9. So basically, it's off. This meter's off a little bit. But we need to be on AM anyway. I agree.
¿Dónde viene la salvación?
¿Dónde?
¿Quién es el que
¿Dónde
motiva
de
al ser
dinero?
humano a buscar a Dios para que así pueda llegar a ser salvo?
Well, we don't have a way to tell if this is accurate, but it'll at least tell us if this works, right? So, we're going to set it on. I mean, I would guess that's 700. And then let's set this on 700. B. And let's see if we can start us a little border station, an outlaw border station. It's tubes, so you gotta let it warm up. What happened there? Tell you what I think happened. I think we did it. I hear something. Okay, we're out of it there. That's a signal, right? Okay, we're gonna turn it off. I don't hear a... Oh, you can barely hear it. Okay, let's try going farther up the dial. So let's go up to 1200. Let's see if we can find our outlaw border station.
No pressure, no in the twinkling of an eye. Realize in the darkness as we wait for Jesus to come back.
I can't tell. It sounds like it's... Yeah, we're 1400. I don't know what pitch it's supposed to be at, though. You need to measure it, really. So, but we're picking up the signal generator. Okay, well, I don't know. How accurate is that? What do you think? Is that 1400? I don't know. It seems a little off to me. So we need a more accurate way of testing it because we don't know if this is accurate or if that's accurate. And we'll go way up to 1600. If I hang out over it, will it act like an antenna? You know, these take a while to warm up too. They're supposed to leave them on like 20-30 minutes. All right, we'll go way back down the other end to we were already doing 600, weren't we? Something like 550. Well, that's interesting. When we got down to 550, it's like it rolled over. All right, well, we're playing with it. Let me see if I can figure out a way to hook it up to an oscilloscope or something. Okay, now, this is probably not the best way to do it, but I've got the lead hanging out of it from the output. I hooked the scope up to the ground on the lead and the capacitor. Now, I'm not sure if we need to be over there or over here, but the capacitor's there for a reason. I don't completely understand it. I'm sure all of you do. So I'm going to hook on that side of the capacitor just in case we blow something up, right? So, here's what it's looking like. Now, check this out. Oh, what's that? I'm able to measure the frequency. What? 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 My scope has a frequency measurement on it. 545 kilohertz. Now, you might say, hey, I saw it say 543. Hey, I saw it say 544. I'm getting the average, people. 544, 545. Now, let's see what we're set on. What would you call just a hair below 550? Oh, my God. I cannot believe that it's actually working. Okay, so let's change it and see if we get something similar. So I'm right on 800. Looks like that's right on 800. $788. So it's losing it a little bit as it goes up. But what we're most concerned about is our 455, right? So let's try to go to 455. Let me switch to A. Okay. And when I did that, this is telling me 210, 20, 30, 247 or so, it looks like there. 236, that's off a little bit. So if we wanted to do 455, we came over here to 450. .450 is 445. Okay. So if I was trying to do 455, I might say, hey, that looks like 455 to me, and I would have been off 3 volts. So our 455 is pretty good. So that's 460 over here, which puts me at 455 over there. Okay, so if I set it at 460, 1 notch past 450, I'm at 455. That's kind of what I need to know, isn't it? Let's see if there's a way to calibrate it. It didn't look like it. There ain't much in there. Accuracy Any signal generator is designed as a convenient and controllable source of modulated or unmodulated signals. No signal generator is designed as a frequency standard. Expensive standard signal generators have fairly accurate 3 to 20% attenuators, which control the output voltage, and the calibration accuracy is rarely closer than 1%. The Heathkit signal generator may be expected to fall within 2 to 3% of the frequency calibration, which is quite satisfactory for service work and alignment. In receiver adjustment, the frequency at which the particular adjustment is made is rarely critical, but the adjustment itself for maximum signal output from the receiver is frequently quite critical. I can't believe this. I'm getting in Charlotte, North Carolina, Annie had a baby over the radio. I can't believe that. What's a ding dong daddy? Okay, so I used it to align this. Yeah, with iffy results, but I don't really know what I'm doing, right? So I put this near the antenna and I set it up at like the highest end of the radio, with the tuning cap all the way open, and then adjusted the IF cans. And I mean, I got it, it's picking stuff up, but the thing is, I don't get anything on the low part of the dial, so I don't know that I got it right, but it could just be there's nothing on the low part of the dial in Charlotte. Or it could be, you know, this is like this one I'm messing with is like a record player. So it, you know, it might not be all that great, even if it's working real good. Of course, I recapped the amp already. So you get this sport channel pretty good.
Really good head coach. Maybe not.
But they won't tell me what channel that is. But watch when I go lower.
On the Exorcist Files podcast, a leading exorcist and demonologist shares stories.
Well, we're getting some stuff.
And precious cases of and with you can't be turned down, even if you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or are overweight. Plus, your rates will never go up, and your benefits will never go down. All for less than $1 a day. Get your free quote today. Call 800-433-1717. 800-433-1717. Or go to
Give me a number.
That's
I want a number.
800-433-1717.
Not a phone number.
InsuranceSavings.com. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. People by Select Quote.
So I'm going into no man's land. Whoa. So that ain't right. See, I've heard, if you don't know what you're doing, that's what you end up with. The low end doesn't work right.
The NFL this season.
So we get the sports channel. And we get the Ding Dong Daddy in here somewhere. Where in 2023 they're playing Hank Ballard over the radio.
I get hired like that day, and I guess from the way I presented myself and how I did my interview, I got a really good job site. And
so this is pretty loud. It's a little left of the center of the dial.
Was the Country Music Hall of Fame.
So it's going to be probably 1110 WBT.
It was a learning curve.
WBT is like our huge channel here in Charlotte. It's a clear channel station that's only like, the towers are like 3 miles from here, 100,000 watts or whatever it is. So we get that real easy.
And we have to use the media, find some media people to look into this, but that's always been a problem throughout history, who watches the watchers, but basically it comes down to us. And then as far as your work,
I mean, there's stuff in there, you know.
What worked 10 years ago is not going to work today. I mean, sometimes what happened last year is not going to work today. So, you have to adapt to what's going on. So I made some changes, myself and the actual site supervisor. We made some real strong changes. And, we were working on just building a better culture.
So I think it works. I think the frequency generator works good, but I don't have this radio right yet. I was trying to get a working radio. I don't have it. I got to get a working radio, people. Let's hear if we can find the Ding Dong Daddy guy before we go out again. It was just to the left of the sports channel. That woman's French. Hey, baby. I need a microphone. Hello. How are you?
Alors, il y a une peur qui est réactivée de se retrouver seul, de se retrouver sans. Est-ce que ça explique pourquoi des fois les études sont plus longues?
Solutions for a greener future since 19.
But she said, "Now stop that and get out that big titties record of the band that plays the blues. Well, the band that plays the blues. She just loves my big titties record of her favorite blues. I cover her with kisses when we."
All right, so if I'm doing any of this and it all just goes blank or cuts out or it's a jump cut, it's because they said that I can't play that and I had to cut it out to get it on YouTube.
Well, the band that plays the blues, she just loves that big titties record of her favorite blues.
All right, so there you go. That's a Heathkit RF signal generator. It's being useful already. Can you believe it? Boy, that's pretty cool. I like. I'll probably get some more if I run across an. I think I have another one that's a little different, but it's cool that I think it still works fine. He's saying a curse word. I can hear it. He's done said it twice now, and I'm not trying to draw any attention to it. But I don't think you can say that on the radio, people.
tell you about that man of mine and the reason I love him so.
Okay, go ahead. Who is that man of yours?
In my book, as the world's outstanding Romeo, down at the beach when we walked by, the other girls gave him the eye.
Boy, that's pretty cool. All right, folks, so leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Tell me why I'm not getting anything down here. All you know-it-alls. Now, I've had people watching my channel for years telling me how to do everything and that I'm doing it wrong. Now, I'm finally doing something wrong. I need everybody to tell me what I'm doing wrong. So I'm setting the dial up here, and then I'm tuning it to 450. I'm putting 455 into it, which is correct for this one. I looked it up. So I'm tuning it to 455, and I'm getting it where everything's peaked at 455. I'm getting good selectivity through here, you know. Or, I don't know about good selectivity, but I'm getting a whole bunch of channels in the middle, but down here I don't get nothing. There's got to be something, you know, and it's late at night, so we ought to be picking up crap all over the place. If you don't know, well, you know-it-alls know, but if you're an amateur like I am, if you may not know, at night, a lot of radio signals are stronger, AM signals. They crank them suckers up, so you can pick up stuff from all over the East Coast at night. It could just be, too, that this radio is not very good. It is a, I can't move it right now. It's a Traveler. So it's just a Traveler record set, you know. Probably from the early 50s, I would guess. 51 or 52, something like that. So leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what I'm doing wrong. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed making it. And I'm going to keep enjoying my little RF signal generator. Now, people, I'm going to film a bunch more videos. But these ones with the radios and all this kind of stuff, I'm only going to put up on the weekends. So just consider them a bonus video, because I don't really know what I'm doing. So I'm just messing around, having a good time. I like all this old stuff.
And it's all about when your man stands out. Julia Lee, and also Bull Moose Jackson with a big 10-inch record. He asks this: Judy Garland is Liza Minnelli's mom? Ah, now you know he isn't gay.
I wish they'd give it like a call signal. So I'm gonna keep looking for this channel on whenever I fix other radios. So it's just to the left of whatever the sports channel is that we can get so good. Make sure to check out my brother Donnie. There's a link down below. My brother does videos too. We do arcade game, pinball machine, jukebox repair videos, and sometimes messing around with something like this. But my brother Donnie does old vehicles, old buildings, things like that. A fun time is had by all. I'm over there on his channel with him a lot of the time. But I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to put this thing back together, and I'll see you on the next